Brandon Turkus, and I am here with the 2018 Chevrolet Traverse. I'm going to do a short walk around. I'm going to show you some of the inside of the vehicle, show you a couple of the cool options on our Volume LT leather test model. But I can't tell you what it's like to drive. We're under embargo until August 16th, so you'll have to check back then for the full review. But you don't want to look at me, you want to look at the car. So let me turn this around real quick. And here we are. This is the 2018 Traverse. This is the volume model. It's the LT leather. There's also an LT cloth, but this one is a pretty good choice. It starts out at $42,095, and that includes destination pricing. And it has a lot of what you'll be looking for on a family crossover. It's 3 rows of seating, including captain's chairs in the middle. So let's dip into the inside because it's a little bit warm outside, Michigan in August and all that. Not a bad looking cabin. It's a little bit conservative, a little bit, not very flashy. There is a high country trim if you want something with a little bit more excitement and cool colors and materials. But the stuff that's here on this volume model is really nice. The leather has a very nice feel to it. The stitching looks great, and it's all over the place. You know, you've got it on the center console, you've got it on the seats, you've got it on the dash, you've got it on the doors, and this is leather on the doors. There is some plastic you got up here and you got down here, and in the areas that you usually suspect it, but in the places where you're more than likely going to touch, it feels really good. It feels really quality. It also feels very solid. Hop into the driver's seat here. You know, even in the bits where there is plastic, like this is definitely plastic. It doesn't look terribly pretty, but it is durable, and it's very solid. If I go to nudge the console with my leg, there's no real movement at all. Everything in here feels really well screwed together. So even if it isn't the prettiest or the most exciting you'll see, it does feel like it's going to hold up for a very long time, which is important when you're hauling a bunch of kids around. And I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to be doing it tomorrow, and I think it'll be pretty good because they flip around to the selfie view. Come on. There we go. You can see behind me there is 2 captain's chairs. I have the 3rd row folded down. I actually picked up a couple of pictures from a buddy that I'm hauling back to my house after this, and so I left them in there to give you an idea of the cargo volume. I'll pull those out in a little bit, and I'll actually put the rear seats up, and you can watch my big gumpy self try and get back there. Let me flip back around to the front, but for now I'm going to hop in the 2nd row, and you can get an idea of how much space I have. So right now the seat is all the way forward, looking a little bit high. Seat is all the way forward. You can see that we've got it loaded up pretty tight, but let me hop in here. And even with the seat all the way up, it's not super comfortable, but in a pinch, and especially if you wanted to put somebody bigger or someone, or if you wanted to put a car seat here, there's enough room that you can manage. Speaking of a car seat, I have to hop around to the other side for this. Chevy added a feature that I think a lot of families are going to be interested in. Nissan has something like this, and they call it, I believe it's called the Smart Seat. And it's a pretty simple thing. You just pull this, you have a lever right here, yank it forward, seat inclines forward and slides forward. And I'm told that if there's a car seat in there, you should be able to get it slid forward without moving it or without removing the seat. That gives you access to a really big open spot. Let me just crawl in here. You know, I can hop in, no problem. Getting out is no problem. That's also partially because of the size of these doors. They're absolutely huge in the back. You get an idea for it, and it's enormous. These doors open to what have to be 75, 80 degrees. There are 3 different detents on there, so because they are so big. So they'll sit there. Let me back up a little bit so you can see what I mean. They'll sit there, and we'll go all the way open and sit there. Sorry, Nick, you can't have this one for free. This one is just a hair over $42,000. They price all the way up towards $53,000 for a fully loaded high country, but base models start around $34,000, $35,000. That's the LS, which is the one you're likely to see in dealerships, not the very, very basic L, which will likely be for rental fleets. So when Chevy was redesigning this, they added 2 inches to the wheelbase, which doesn't sound like a lot until you realize that it's all going towards this rear door. And it makes loading and unloading and getting in and out, getting in and getting out super, super easy. I love this. I'm hauling some friends around this weekend, and this is going to be really popular, having all of this space to get in and out and, you know, get everybody around. I'm going to unload that stuff from the back right now so you can get an idea of just how much space there is. Now, these are fairly large pictures. They're not small, but they fit really, really well. We had no problem loading them in there. I'm actually going to try and move them out and hopefully not break anything, because that would be kind of crummy. There we go. Move the big old IKEA picture out of there. Okay, now that the pictures are out of the way, there are power raising and lowering seats, but they're not on the LT leather, so I got to reach in there and actually pull them back myself. You still have a fair amount of space with the third row up, as you can see. You also have a fun little cubby. Now the lid stays up and you have a very, very usable compartment. This is not watertight or anything like that, so you cannot use it as a cooler. There's no way to drain it. Spare tire is also under here, so not that you'd really want to. You have to unscrew these guys to get the spare tire. You can see the little diagram there. But the lid stays up. If you're hauling groceries, it's going to be really convenient. So let's shut that. Press the little button. And shut that. And I'm going to climb in the back. I'm about 6'1", 6'2", long-legged, and about 245 pounds on a good day. So just to give you an idea of how big I am getting into this thing. And let's pull the smart seat forward. There's a nice big opening, and I'm going to step in and lumber my big self in here. Okay, I'm in the third row. We're going to bring the seat back, and this seat is all the way back. And it's a little bit dark, but you can see I don't have a ton of leg room with the seat all the way back. If we slide over to the other side, where the seat is slid all the way forward, it's actually very cozy. I can make this work. I'd be happy back here for a longer ride. And as you can see, let me flip this around. I have headroom. My head's hitting a little bit back there, but in terms of the actual top of my head, I have plenty of space. It's not bad. I'd be perfectly fine back here on a longer drive. Flip forward. Getting out, even if you don't want to flip the seat actually forward, let's get the armrest out of the way. Getting out isn't that difficult, or at least it's not any more difficult than it is in a lot of other vehicles in this class. And there we have it. I am out of the car, safely, soundly. I've only pulled a few muscles. Let's hop in to the driver's seat, or the passenger seat, I'm sorry. Move the Osmo case. And I'll show you some of the technology. Actually, I'm going to get in the driver's side. It'll be a little bit easier. Okay. Back in the driver's seat. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the infotainment system. This is Chevy's 8-inch MyLink screen. It looks really, really nice. Very responsive. Very easy and intuitive to figure out. And you have your basic options here. You have audio and you have the phone and everything like that. And it's all around up here. Take my sunglasses off. I can't actually see it all that well. So you have everything right there. Then you also have projection, which is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Both of those systems are standard even on the most basic Traverse. You're always going to have those. You're always going to have this screen, which is pretty cool. Excuse me. You also have a range of apps that are there to make family hauling a little bit easier. And the coolest one might be the audiobooks. And I don't know if my account is set up on here, or if Chevy's account, I should say, is set up on here. But they preloaded this for us with some credits and a few like small books that we can get. There's like Charlotte's Web and Yes, I Agree to Your Terms. And you can play this right over the speaker. You can download songs on here. And if you have kids in the car and you don't want to put a movie on, if you want to actually learn something instead of watching whatever passes for kids' TV nowadays, then this is a great feature. You also have iHeartRadio, Pandora. You have an entire shop for downloading some new apps as they're available. It's a very useful system, but I personally just use CarPlay. I find it works really, really well. But the main reason I'm showing you this system is it has one of my favorite features of any Chevy product, and it's this button right here. Because there's a cubby. There's a cubby behind the head unit, and you can see there's a USB outlet in there. I can't take my phone off here now because I'm actually using it to view the video, but it's about big enough it'll probably fit an iPhone 7 Plus, definitely a normal iPhone 7 or a Samsung Galaxy S8. It'll also fit, I've actually put an Egg McMuffin in one of these before, and it kept it warm for a fair amount of time, so that's very helpful. I heard from a PR person that an older woman in Texas was thrilled that she could fit her pistol in there. So there's another reason that you can store stuff in there. Not that I'd recommend storing a gun behind here, but as one does. We'll close that. One of the other cooler pieces of technology in here is, and again, I don't know the exact brand name. I don't remember the exact brand name. I apologize, but it's a camera mirror. The word smart is probably in there somewhere, because why wouldn't it be? So if you look right here, we have a normal mirror. You can see me. Alejandro, a breakfast burrito would go perfect in there. You have a normal looking mirror, all is well. You can see behind just a little bit. It's a little bit tinted, so it's hard to see at least on the Osmo. But if I flip this lever down here, it switches to a camera. This is really cool. It's on the Cadillac CT6 as well. I'm not really sure if Chevy has put it on any of its other vehicles, but it really gives you an option in if you're backing up, because this is a very, very deep depth of field compared to a normal backup camera. So just to give you an idea of that, I'm going to put the car into reverse. So that stays up. Now look at the reference on where that's at. Look at how far back those those parking lines go, and compare it down to the normal backup camera and surround view camera. So if you're doing a really complex backup maneuver, or if you're in traffic and you want something other than a normal mirror, you want something with a little bit more detail and definition, this is a really great option. I've found myself kind of getting addicted to it and leaving it on all the time. It's that good of a feature. It's also helpful if you have a bunch of stuff or people in the back seat, you don't feel like staring at their heads. You can flip onto this and you still have a good idea of what's going on around you. Whoop, backing up, still in reverse. Again, this is a feature that I believe it's on the LT leather, because that's what I'm in. It should be on the LT cloth. I don't think it's on the standard LS or L though. Beyond that, I would love to tell you guys what it's like to drive. I've had it for the past day, but we're under embargo, so I can't really tell you that. I can tell you that the model that I'm driving, like most Traverses, will have a 3.6 liter V6 with 310 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque. It'll return 21 miles per gallon on the combined cycle with front-wheel drive, which is what I'm driving. And it's paired up with a 9-speed automatic transmission. There's a 5-link rear suspension. There's better brakes than the last Traverse. There's better steering. It's all there. I just can't tell you what it's actually like, and I'm really sorry about that. You'll have to come back on August 16th when our full review of the 2018 Chevrolet Traverse goes live. I hope you guys enjoyed this Facebook Live. I hope you look forward to reading the Traverse review in a couple weeks. I'm Brandon Turkus. Have a good one.